My boyfriend is getting tired of me because of my food choices. He doesn't like that I'm vegetarian, and now he really thought that pulling my hair to force feed me his meat would make me change my mind. My boyfriend, 23M, and I, 25F, have been together for 3 years and have lived together for 1 year. I've been a vegetarian since I was 11 years old by my own choice, even though no one else in my family is veggie. My boyfriend eats meat. Even though my ideal partner would probably be a vegetarian, I see this as something I accept for an otherwise great guy, kind of like what Dan Savage calls the price of admission. Usually, we cook vegetarian meals together and he adds meat to his portion. If he wants a meal where that doesn't work, we just cook our own things and eat them together. The cooking and cleaning are split about 50-50, so I don't think that's the issue. He eats meat most days, and I have no problem with meat in the flat. I won't cook it, though, because it grosses me out. I don't mind meat pizzas and stuff like that, but nothing that involves really touching the meat. Lately, he's been really fixated on my vegetarianism in a way he never was before. He's always made silly jokes, but that's usually fine. He's been questioning me about it seriously about 4 times in the past 2 weeks. Anyone who's been vegetarian knows how annoying those constant conversations can be. He's even started saying that it's dumb, unhealthy, or hipster, all that stuff. I've shown him studies saying vegetarians usually live longer, that a vegetarian and even vegan diet is considered just as healthy as a meat one by dietitians, but he just won't accept it. Ironically, his diet is worse than mine. I don't snack, eat fast food, or drink sugary drinks, but he does all the time. We're both slim, though. He's been asking me if I'd ever quit a lot too. I'd like to point out that I never bring up my vegetarianism in conversation because people usually just try to lecture you. Whenever we talk about it, he's the one who brings it up. Now, there have been a few times in the past few weeks when he's cooked a meal for us, and I've noticed that it's not vegetarian. Some examples. He made spaghetti bolognese and said it was corn when it obviously wasn't. They don't look the same. When I pointed this out, he just laughed and said it was a mistake, and he forgot, which, okay, I guess that could happen. He gave me a sandwich with ham on it, another mistake, apparently, since he was making them for both of us and just put ham on both, even though this never happened before. He made himself a bacon sandwich and asked if I wanted an egg one. I said yes, and when I walked into the kitchen, he was using the same pan that he'd used for bacon. He said he didn't know this was a problem when he definitely did because he always swapped pans before this. And it's not about washing up, because when he cooks, I wash up, and vice versa. He made chicken enchiladas and told me they were veggie. Luckily, I saw the chicken when I cut it in half. Same excuses, an honest mistake. So far, I haven't accidentally eaten any meat. I've been cooking for myself for the past week, but he keeps offering to cook for both of us. Am I just being paranoid? The idea of him sneaking meat into my food seems crazy, but it really seems like he is. Why would he even bother to do that? I think you're using the word sneak incorrectly. This guy knows full well what he's doing, and you should probably have some serious second thoughts about him and his actions. Mistake my butt. I'm glad people are agreeing with me. I didn't think it could be in any way a mistake either, but he insists that they are. He won't change his story at all. Have you talked to him about the fact that he's being incredibly disrespectful towards you and your moral choices? I question him after every incident, and I've asked him separately as well. I was like, you've been making a lot of these mistakes, want to talk about my vegetarianism? Are you confused about it? Resentful? He insisted that every single time was a mistake and then huffed off to bed. It does sound like he's setting you up for a "did you like what I made you for dinner?" Ha, it had meat in it, sucker situation. These are no honest mistakes. You two have lived/eaten together for quite some time now, and to suddenly be making mistakes like this is ridiculous. He's definitely trying to get you to eat meat. I think you need to have a serious talk with him. Tell him that you know he's trying to sneak meat to you. There are way too many coincidences for these to be accidents anymore. Tell him that if you ever suspect or discover that he has fed you meat, you will break up with him on the spot. At least, tell him that if that's how you feel. For me, it would be a total breach of trust. Ask him what his deal is with your being a vegetarian. Is a friend giving him a hard time? Did he read something that made him worried? Is he concerned about what you two will feed future children? There's something that got the fire going under his feet, and you need to figure out what it is. Update 1. So after posting, I stuck to only eating food I'd made, and my boyfriend got more and more antsy about cooking for me. I sat him down the next day and asked him the same stuff, if he had a problem with my vegetarianism, why he was trying to contaminate my food. Since I asked why and not if, he blew up, demanding to know why I didn't trust him, how I could accuse him of this. He also kept trying to get me to explain why I'm veggie in the first place, but he knows this well, so I didn't let him derail the conversation. Eventually, after the most frustrating, circular argument ever, he stormed off to our bedroom. We didn't speak that night or the next morning. When I got home the next day, he'd actually gone and cooked an entire chicken for us. He asked me if I'd eat it. It was so surreal, him standing at the kitchen counter with his cooked chicken asking me to eat it when he's never known me to eat meat, as if we hadn't been arguing about this at all. I didn't even respond. I shouldered my way past him to the fridge, which was a massive mistake. I guess he went a little nuts. I still can't really believe this happened, but he grabbed me by my hair at the back of my head and with his other hand tried to force chicken into my mouth. I am still shocked by this. It was terrifying, he was so much stronger than me. He didn't succeed, and after some moments of me struggling, he let go. He just stood there, looking defeated while I literally ran out of the kitchen, got some stuff, and went to my parents'. I'm there now, it's been the better part of a week. He's agreed to move out, put up no fight for the flat or for us, which I wouldn't accept, of course, anyway. When we spoke on the phone to decide this, he sounded ashamed, quiet. I hope he's ashamed. I'll never know why he suddenly snapped about my vegetarianism, and I frankly don't care anymore. He's obviously just a jerk to do that anyway. This past month or so has been so different from the rest of our relationship, it's crazy, but there's no coming back from this. I'm well rid of him. I found a diary my husband wrote in throughout our whole time together, and decided to give it a read. Now, I hope he can read my mind and piece together why I had to get the police involved. My 33F husband, 37M, has kept a semi-regular journal throughout our 4-year relationship. He never kept it hidden, and I've always respected his privacy. We argued, and I felt uneasy, so I decided to read his journal after he went to work. He wrote that he doesn't like me and even wished I was gone when I was sick. When I read those words, I left with our baby to stay at a friend's house. I took pictures of what he wrote and told him I needed time to calm down. I also reached out to my therapist and a lawyer for help. We had a tough time lately, about 2 weeks of feeling down, but we talked things out. There was no violence or fear, just honest talks about how we felt. The angry notes in his journal matched that tough time. The rest of the journal is normal, with pep talks about work and family stuff. He sent me kind messages since I left, saying he's glad I'm taking time for myself, and he looks forward to us being together again. He says it's okay to have rough patches and that he loves me. At first, I thought our relationship was over when I read he didn't like me, but the nice messages and the rest of his journal make me unsure. I know people need to let out their feelings, and writing them down can help. But I've never thought about him dying, even when things were tough. Thinking about breaking up maybe, but this feels different. I don't know if I can feel safe around him again. Am I making too big a deal out of this? Has anyone else felt this way about a partner and then things got better? Or should I be worried about him hurting us? Additional info, our tough time was because he has feelings for another woman. He didn't cheat, but his friendship with her bothers me. The part of the journal where he says he doesn't like me was written as a love letter to her. He talks about me being gone and replaced. It's over. He wrote a love letter in his journal to another woman? You know it's more than just being friends, no matter what he tells you. Stay strong. Talk to a lawyer. Go to your home while he's at work and get more of your things. I'm sorry. Don't trust what he's saying now. He's seeing you stand up for yourself, and it's hitting him hard. Send those pictures to at least one person you trust before he realizes you've seen them. Update 1. I followed a commenter's advice and sent the pictures to a trusted friend. She pointed out that a part I read is every day I think about telling her actually says killing her. It was hard to believe at first. I got lots of helpful support, but that comment might have saved me. After I understood that, I called a crisis line. They helped me through the shock and connected me with a center for affordable legal help. I told my husband I'm enjoying being out of town and want to stay longer. I have therapy tomorrow and a meeting with a social worker to make a safety plan. I feel like I have a good team of family, friends, and experts helping me. I don't regret reading his journal at all now. My gut feeling was right, even though I couldn't imagine it being this bad. I'm glad I listened to my instincts. This marriage isn't worth risking my life for. Update 2. At the suggestion of the social worker, I told the local police about his journal, but it was a really bad experience. The officer scolded me for reading it, saying he had a reasonable expectation of privacy, and even threatened to tell my husband I reported him. I had to stand up for myself and emphasize that I was scared for my life. It was terrible, but now there's at least a record with photos of the journal. The family lawyer told me to get a protection order right away. It would stop him from contacting me and our child, and he couldn't come near our home or my workplace. He'd have to prove to a judge he's a good parent to see our daughter again, and then we'd talk about visitation. Another problem is we own a business together. I have a meeting with another lawyer this week to see what I can do. It was my idea, and I'm sure I can run it alone, and want to, but he's put a lot of work into it too. It's our main income right now. I'm worried he'll fight me on it. We take turns going in, so I went like usual on Saturday, with a friend and a baseball bat. I kept up the act of wanting to fix things, like video calls with the baby. While I was there, I found yet another journal. It was full of love letters to this other woman for months. It went from I liked seeing you at the grocery store to I drove past your house today. He says he's deeply in love with her and can't wait to marry her. He writes about every time he's seen her, even just saying hello. She seems innocent and unaware. He also talks about wanting me to die a few times. The latest entry was from the day before, saying he thinks I might leave him, but he doesn't care much because he never really liked me. He's just worried about what our friends will think. I'm not sure if I should tell her. My gut says no, at least not yet. I was already worried about how he'd react to the protection order, especially if he tries to hurt our business or damage the house. Since he cares a lot about his image, I plan to confront him about the journals and use the order to protect myself. Here's how it went. I left the journal and my baby with my friend and went to our house with 2 trusted male friends, and the baseball bat. They waited outside. I told my husband that if they heard anything loud, they'd come in with the bat. I said I had to tell him something he wouldn't like and that I had taken steps to protect myself. I told him I read the journals and showed him what he wrote about wanting me to die and thinking about killing me every day. I said I took photos, backed them up, and someone else has copies. I also have the original journal full of love letters. I wondered if he wanted me to find them, but he seemed surprised. He tried to say it was just venting, but I said I wouldn't take any chances or listen to him. After reading that, I'll never trust or feel safe around him again. I told him no one else knows about this yet, just that I'm breaking up with him and need support. That was mostly true. I said I could protect his reputation if he cooperates. He can do what I need to feel safe, or I can have it ordered by court. He asked what I wanted, and I said I wanted him to give up the business. We'll sort out the details later, but for now, I want his keys and to change the passwords on everything. He didn't argue. He didn't ask about our baby or what would happen in court. He calmly got the keys and asked if I wanted anything else. I said any communication should be about separating, like arranging to get my things. Since then, he's been texting a lot, saying he knows his heart, let's talk, he's sorry, etc. I tell him he's crossing my boundaries and he stops. He told his mom and sister, and they're helping him get help. He's cooperating, interviewing for jobs, seeing a therapist, and telling me where he's going, even though I didn't ask. I'm staying with my parents for now. It's a longer commute, but they help with the baby and meals. I'm settling into new routines, doing lots of therapy and yoga. I have a small cabin, inherited before I met my husband, being renovated. It's in my mom's name, so I'll have a permanent home for me and the baby soon. Things still need to settle, and it might get worse before it gets better, but I'm hopeful. I'll come out of this as a strong single mom with a great child, a successful business, and a cozy home. Having all that without my husband feels amazing. I have a great support system. Thank you all for being part of it. My boyfriend doesn't know that I know exactly who he's been sleeping with and where. Now, he has no idea that right after he takes his residency exam, he'll be the only person left at his residency. We've been together for 3 years. Only in the past year, his drinking problem became clear. When he drinks, he gets mean. Every time he comes home after drinking, he yells at me. He also started using substances, so he often doesn't come home until 10 a.m. after being gone for half a day. His yelling turned into calling me names. I told him he needed to change, but he promised to change everything. No more late nights, no more leaving me alone, no more yelling, no more substances, and no more secrets about where he goes or who he's with. But he doesn't know that I know he lied every weekend when he said he was asleep in bed. He doesn't know I know about every girl he's given his Instagram to, or that he begged his friends to lie to me. He doesn't know that I'll have my things packed and ready to leave as soon as he comes home from his residency exam. That's in 1 week. He doesn't know that when he talks about us buying a house and getting married, I cry because of how hurt I am, not because I'm happy. Right now, he's singing in the other room, making plans for how we'll celebrate if he passed the exam. Can you explain why you're not leaving right away? I just want to understand your feelings better. I work in the same field, so I know how tough it can be. I want him to pass and have a good life, just not with me. I suggest packing your things and leaving while he's away. Then if you want to give him closure, meet him somewhere public, not a bar, maybe a cafe, and tell him you're leaving and your things are gone. Don't risk him getting violent. That's a really tough choice to make, but it sounds like the right one. He's not stable, and he doesn't seem like he'll change. Buying a house with him would be a big mistake. I'll have my things packed and be ready to leave as soon as he comes home from his residency exam. You might want to reconsider that part. He's shown he can be volatile. Coming home from a stressful exam to find you ready to leave might make him explode. The best case scenario is a loud, unpleasant scene. The worst case scenario is violence. Leave while he's at the exam. Don't wait for him at home. If you feel you need to give him closure, do it in a safe way. Meet in public, have friends nearby, or call him. Don't end things with a volatile person in private, especially in a way that could lead to conflict. Your plan puts you at risk unnecessarily. Update 1. Thank you all for your support and comments. It meant a lot to me during this tough week. I want to clear up some confusion. I'm not from the US, and English isn't my first language. When I mentioned the residency exam, I meant the test med students take to work in a hospital. To those who suggested telling his boss, he doesn't have one, and there isn't a board to report him to. He passed several admission tests that check his mental and physical fitness. I can't go against multiple doctors' approval with just my word. I visited the hospital to see what I could do to prove he's a danger. They said I'd need hard proof, which I can't get. But they assured me they'll keep an eye on him during checkups. I also told his parents and friends why we broke up. About the breakup, it didn't turn violent. I followed advice and met him in a public place after his exam. At first, he acted strangely, even leaving briefly, but he came back apologizing. We had a civil talk. I explained how alone I felt when he stayed out late. I told him he's not the person I want to raise children with. I mentioned his volatility and my fear of being hurt. He cried and begged, saying I'm the love of his life and he'll seek help. He promised never to see those friends again, denied cheating, and vowed to go to therapy. The breakup was long. Since then, he bought me tickets to Venice for my work milestone in 2 months, suggesting it could be for us. He gave me flowers for Valentine's and asked to meet, but I declined, warning I'll block him if he persists. I'm very sad because my family won't talk to me. They say I'm selfish for not meeting their emotional needs and insist I take him back. I feel sorry for both of us, seeing how substances and drinks can change someone. Block him anyway. And I hope you didn't accept his gifts and give him false hope. I didn't. I told him absolutely no to keeping in touch, to going out, to the flowers or to Venice and any other things that he might think of. Good for you. It's so hard when your own family doesn't support your decisions. But future you will be so happy that you made this choice. He sounds like a mess and should fix himself before getting into a relationship with anyone. Yay, it certainly isn't easy. I had them yelling at me through the phone, I stopped responding and now they are yelling at me through my door. I think the hardest part of this breakup is how disappointed I feel by my own family. It's amazing how week after week as I am trying to change what's making me unhappy I end up even more miserable.
My fiancée confessed that she slept with a guy she couldn't care less about while she was with me. Now, her best friend just called her a liar, and I couldn't care less about staying in this relationship. I, 28M, and Anna, 27F, have been together for 5 years and engaged for 1. We were set to be married in October of this year. This woman is the love of my life. 2 weeks ago, we had a couple of friends over at our house. One of the friends, Becky, was a high school friend of Anna. As the night went on, we obviously got a bit silly from drinking, and the conversation turned to deep regrets. The topic came up about the deepest thing we regret. We all shared our thoughts, and Anna said her deepest regret was losing her V card to her ex-boyfriend in high school instead of me. I already knew this, so it didn't bother me. Becky, who was a little tipsy, suddenly spoke up and called Anna a fibber. Surprised, I asked Becky why she said that. Before I could even finish my sentence, Anna stood up and asked Becky to talk privately, but Becky refused. Then Becky said Anna's biggest regret was falsely accusing her ex-boyfriend of something serious. Back in high school, Anna's ex-boyfriend broke up with her out of the blue, and she got really upset. In her anger, she falsely accused him of SA. He was arrested, kicked out of school, and his family had to move states because his life was in danger. He even tried to hurt himself. After Anna found out, she confessed that the accusation was false. I felt angry because Becky was saying bad things about my fiancé. I didn't believe it until I saw Anna crying. I asked her if it was true, and Anna ran into the house and locked herself in our room. After that, the party was over, and everyone left because the situation was really awkward. It took me 4 hours to get Anna to come out of our room and talk to me. She confirmed that what Becky said was true, with some small differences. I didn't know what to do, so I just let her cry on my shoulder. She kept asking me to forgive her. When I got her into bed and started thinking about what she did, I felt disgusted. The more I thought about it, the more disgusted I felt. I couldn't sleep at all that night, and I just got angrier and angrier as I thought about it. That information shattered the image I had of her. How could someone do something like that to anyone? To be honest, after hearing Anna confirm what Becky said, it felt like my love for her was turning into anger the more I thought about what she did. The next morning, I avoided her. Every time she tried to talk to me, I couldn't look at her or listen to her voice. It was like that the whole day. After thinking it over again Saturday night, I decided to talk to her about breaking up, because what she did was not just really bad, but it made me wonder what else she lied about or would lie about, and I didn't want to live with that worry. Sunday morning, I sat her down and asked her to tell me the story again, and she said the same thing she told me Friday night. I told her I couldn't be in a relationship with her anymore. She completely broke down. All I could hear over her crying was her saying sorry over and over again, the rest was just mumbling. I wasn't in the best emotional state myself at that moment. This was the woman I wanted to marry, the love of my life. So, I called her parents and mine too, and told them we broke up but didn't say why. I asked her parents to come pick her up and mine to come because I was losing it myself. Her parents arrived first. Her mom went straight to her to comfort her, and her dad asked me what happened. As soon as I said she made false accusations, he stopped me and said he understood. He asked if it was okay to grab some of her things. He went into our room and got some. While he was packing, Anna kept asking me to forgive her. On their way out, her dad said he would come back for her other things later. It sounds quick and easy, but it actually took about 30 minutes. An hour later, my parents arrived. When I saw my father, I completely broke down. I couldn't even stand on my own, he had to hold me. I cried myself to sleep while he was there for me. It was the first time I slept since Friday night. I woke up to my mom cooking dinner for us. My father's first question was if I was okay, and I couldn't answer. Then my mother asked what happened, and I started crying again. It took me 10 minutes to get myself together enough to talk to them. I told them everything. They sat in silence, completely shocked. My mother asked if it was really true, and I told her Anna herself confirmed it. After that, we just sat in silence the whole night, with my dad checking in on me constantly. Monday, I woke up to find my dad missing and only my mom in the house. I asked her where my dad went, and she said he left for their house but would be back soon. Luckily, my mom answered my phone that morning when my manager called because I hadn't shown up for work. I got at least 2 weeks off. My dad came back later that day with his and my mom's clothes and a few other things. They'll be staying with me for a while. When I wanted to object, my father said he didn't want to hear it. Around 4 p.m. the same day, Anna's mother came to my house and wanted to talk to me. My mother didn't want her to come in, but I agreed to speak with her. Anna is really struggling, she won't eat and is crying all the time. Her mother asked if I could forgive her and maybe get back together with her. They even offered to pay for couples counseling if I needed it. After that, my mother kicked her out of my house before I could even respond. My phone has been blowing up since Sunday with calls and messages from her, our friends, her mother, and even some family members on both sides, all asking me to reconsider our breakup because she didn't do anything to me, and this was in her past. While that's true, I can't forgive something like that. She ruined her ex's life and almost caused his death. If she can lie about something like that, what else can't she lie about? What else hasn't she lied about? Almost everyone I know has been harassing me, calling me heartless for not seeing her pain, and saying awful things like I'm an asshole and a piece of crap for holding something she did in her past against her. They say I never truly loved her if I can end things like this, and it's starting to get to me. My parents are still at my house, so I asked my dad what he would do. He responded with one question. Do you think you can forgive her? When I said no, his response was, then that's the end of it. Everyone else can go screw themselves. She was 18 years old when she made the false accusations. I don't know if she apologized to the guy. After they moved, they completely disappeared. I know his name and the names of his parents but can't find them on any social media. 6 months passed from the time she accused her ex to her confession. Also, do take many precautions and save documentation of all her asking messages and the breakup. Keep her parents' messages, even text Becky so she tells again what happened that night in a savable format. Once your ex realizes that you aren't taking her back, she is capable of doing the same thing to you. I have been saving everything, but didn't ask Becky for the story again. I will do that. Again, thank you. Everyone else who is bothering you to get back with her and get over it won't be marrying her and dealing with the worry for the rest of your life that she might do the same thing to you in the future. I will never marry someone like that or have children with them. Consider yourself extremely lucky that you got to know about her SA false case that almost ended someone's life before you married her. Luck was on your side this time. It hurt, but yes, I do feel lucky. My brother said basically the same thing as you. He also said I must be careful because I used up years of luck in one evening. Update 1. I found out what happened to the ex. I know I said I won't go looking for him, but he kept creeping into my mind. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us. He took his own life at the age of 22. I found an obituary of him. I didn't contact his parents or anything, just some snooping on the internet from their old profile. I managed by luck to track them down through old friends and some family members. One of them posted his story after the essay on his profile. Someone found out about the SA allegations at his college and reported him. He was kicked out and got fired from his job even though he was cleared, and he ended his life afterward. I don't know if my ex knows. I am also labeled as an abuser now and being investigated by the police. I had to go and give a statement at the police station this morning. My ex reported me to the police for DV, and I was also issued with a restraining order to not go near her. I don't want to anyway. My mother is furious. I have never heard my mother cuss, but she became very upset when I told them what is going on. Even my dad was shocked. I explained everything to the police and gave them all the evidence I have so far, all the saved messages and voicemails. But they said the case cannot just be dismissed as they still have to do an investigation because apparently my ex has proof via photos of bruises on her body. I did ask from when and how, but the office refused to tell me. Ongoing investigation and all that stuff. I can with full confidence say I have never hurt her in any physical way other than a slap on the butt. Sorry for not giving a happy update. I thought this would have been done with. Luckily, I can say all thoughts of reconciliation are out the window and driven over by a truck. Understandable to be upset. Make backups of everything honestly. Better safe than sorry. Just in case something happens to anything, you will have backups then. I have triple copies of everything. Her ex must have been a better man than me because he didn't do anything. I'm going to not just watch but assist in her life.